Hi, how's it going? Good, good. I'm having a great day today. Got some crazy stories in mind for all you. And yeah, we're just gonna go with that. Oh, come on now. Let's get it started. We're talking about Bitcoin. We're talking about Biden. We're talking about Amazon. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. We're gonna talk about a couple movies too. And yeah, I'm just excited because I think things are gonna be really good today. Thank you. Okay. Mic good. Mic check. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Anyone in the chat can tell me if the mic's all good. If not, that's cool. I'm just double checking. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is R. Tyler, and this is Newsreel. Make sure I got the audio levels all fine and dandy. How is everybody doing today on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday morning? It is a good day for me because Easter's coming up, and and personally, I feel like we as a Duquesne community feel pretty good, honestly, because we get a break. Oh gosh. It's been 7 years since I've had a break. Nah, more like 3 months. But either way, it still feels the same. I mean, this has been a long semester for pretty much anyone. I don't think I've talked to anyone that hasn't had a long semester this year. But I digress. We will be off from Thursday till Monday. And that is perfect for me because guess what? At the end of the day, I am going to just chill and relax and have a great break. Anyway, let's get into the news, shall we? First thing I want to talk about today, the Amazon story. Have you guys heard about the Amazon story? About the unions and all that? Well, if you did, if you didn't, then I'm your guy. I'm your guy for this, kind of. So, essentially what's happening in America right now is the fact that, yes, there's a big union vote happening in a warehouse in Bessemer, Alabama. This has very big implications for like Amazon as a whole because Amazon's workers are not unionized. They do not, and I repeat, do not have unions within the company, which is crazy to think. One of the second biggest employers in the world, and they don't have employers, or sorry, and they don't have unions. The organizers are pushing for some 6,000 Amazon workers to join the retail, wholesale, and department store union on the promise that will lead to better working conditions, better pay, and more respect. Amazon is pushing back, though, arguing that it offers more than twice the minimum wage in Alabama, and workers get such benefits as health care, dental, and vision insurance without paying union dues. So essentially how unions work, you get better benefits, but you got to pay for the union dues. It's kind of simple, kind of not. I could dive into it a little bit more on a later episode if you'd like, but well, I digress. So essentially, where this is a very big decision because Amazon has gone under fire recently because they aren't apparently they aren't really kind to their workers. There's been accusations of them not getting bathroom breaks, for them to like encourage to work over their limit of to work essentially unpaid overtime, from what I've heard, and that's crazy. I mean, everyone's been saying, "Hey, let's get this done." And including like the president, including like some very popular figures in the media, like NFL players such as I forget. Jeez. Okay. So yeah, essentially that's kind of what's been going on. I think this is the biggest union debate since Jimmy Hoffa back in the '60s, I believe. One of the most biggest that I've paid attention to at least, because at the end, like I don't know, I was a big fan of The Irishman, so that's why I kind of know about that Jimmy Hoffa story. But yeah, this is really big, uh, because I feel like a lot of companies, especially big tech companies, are really favoring off not having unions within their foundation because without with unions, they can really get, or should I say, without unions, they can get away with a lot of stuff. I mean, you talk about where your iPhone comes from. It comes from like a warehouse in China and like a lot of those sweatshops and stuff like that. I mean, that's like seriously though, like I just hope they do because I think it leads to a more fair economy and a more fair workplace as a whole. I mean, us as Americans are really struggling in the job market. I mean, some people have great jobs right now, but most people don't. I mean, if I were to pull up unemployment numbers in the country. The unemployment numbers are, hold on, sorry about this. Yeah. All right. According to the balance, the current U.S. unemployment rate is 6.2 for February 2021. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics said in its monthly report, this is the unemployment rate is 1.1% percentage points lower than in January. Unemployment is one of the most critical, according to this article, unemployment is one of the most critical economic issues facing the country as it balances reopening with great safety months into the pandemic, which is why I fully agree with that too. So anyway, let's move on. This is the hot. And in April 2020, after the government shut down the economy, the unemployment rate reached 14.7%, which was the highest since the Great Depression. And that's kind of, it's wild at the end of the day. And yeah, it's lower now, but still, it's still pretty high and still pretty concerning. We still have a lot of people who are struggling to make ends meet with rent, with groceries, with everything. And, I don't know. We have to really encourage people to go out into the workforce. I'm looking at this chart right now that talks about the staggering growth of Amazon's workforce. And in 2020, it hit an all-time high of 1.3 million. I mean, you check out this chart, it's insane how much pull Amazon has over the economy right now as a whole due to the pandemic and just ease of delivery. And yeah. Best of luck to you guys in Bessingham, Alabama. I want to make sure I got that one right. Bessemer, no problem. All right. Yes. So that was that. Let's move on to the next one. Biden will travel to Pittsburgh today. Biden's traveling to Pittsburgh today. Hey, Biden's in town to detail a plan to overhaul U.S. infrastructure and manufacturing, the first of two sweeping economic recovery proposals. But the administration is still ironing out the details of the second package, will involve huge investments into healthcare and childcare. So, based off this article, which is by CNBC, Biden will travel to Pittsburgh to unveil the first of these two sweeping economic recovery proposals. They will carry a multi-trillion-dollar price tag that dwarfs the $1.9 trillion COVID relief plan he signed into law earlier this month. The administration's economic team is still ironing out the details of the second plan, which will involve huge investments in U.S. healthcare and childcare. The White House says it will roll out that proposal sometime in April. He will give a speech in Pittsburgh a little bit later today, and yeah. This is his first trip in Western PA since taking office. Comes as the president prepares to shift his gaze beyond the immediate threat of a still raging pandemic and focusing on longer-term issues. So, yeah, I mean, apparently, and the article goes on to say Biden's handling of the pandemic has so far garnered high approval ratings and buoyed his popularity, polls show, but he could soon tap into that built-up political capital as the White House moves to hike taxes to pay for the new infrastructure plan. And I believe they are going to start to target people over $400,000 that make $400,000 a year, which, that's nice instead of, review bombing, not review bombing, which is like hiking the taxes up for the poor, which is never a good idea. Never. So, yeah. A lot of Republicans have a lot of problems with the broad, popular COVID rescue plan, but I don't know if that's a political thing or a legitimate thing because a lot of people think the plan's popular at the end of the day. Because more than two-thirds of Americans supported the relief plan, and they like the 14,000 direct payments and 15-hour minimum wage, included in the package. But they're wary of more spending after the passage of a $900 billion. Republicans are a little bit scared of spending after the passage of a $900 billion relief plan in December. And then they offered, hey, Biden, let's take 1,600 billion instead. I just think these guys are really trying to shortchange you, man. I don't like that. I really don't like that. It's concerning because, like, who are you doing this for? You know, at the end of the day, who are you really doing this for? You're not doing it for the people that elected you. A lot of the people that elected you, they're not in good spots right now. Like, about, I'd say 15% of the country, maybe less, is probably doing decent right now, maybe more. But I think a lot of the country's in pain, and a lot of the country needs that stability in order to make the best of what they can do, or make the best out of their situation. They need help. People need help right now. No matter what your stance on it, people need help because, I mean, proof's in the pudding. Unemployment's still relatively high. It's at 6.7%. It's not going down anytime soon. I mean, you'd hope so, but who knows? The future could go in several different directions. Thankfully, the vaccinations across the country are doing pretty well. People are, I mean, I believe it was like we have about 20% of the country vaccinated already, which is great. That's great to hear. And I think that's really going to help the economy in the long run. But that's not going to change anything unless you support the people that were hurt in the pandemic the most. If you're not going to do that, then what are you going to do? You're just going to focus on yourself? Just do all that jazz? You're going to just focus on, I don't know, paying for your nice yacht or going on that golf course or something like that? Politicians frustrate me, man. Because they always have hidden, like, some of them have really, really messed up hidden agendas behind the scenes. Uh, here's one politician I'm not a huge fan of, Matt Gaetz, and he was apparently allegedly accused of having relations with a 17-year-old girl, and yeah, I'm really disappointed. Well, not disappointed. I already had low expectations of the man, but it doesn't get much better, man. Like what? Like how do you stoop worse than becoming like Trump's lackey, man? How do you really stoop worse than becoming Trump's like lackey? Like, no, all you gotta do is just allegedly have these encounters. But don't worry, apparently for like someone like Bill Clinton, it can just go away, and like they'll probably victim blame the girl and you know have a great time. Not They'll just say, "Oh, it's the girl's fault," and then move on. Say she's a liar, then move on. Because right, that's usually what happens, right? Oh boy. I only mentioned that because I just watched that John Oliver public shaming video that's on YouTube. By the way, check it out. It's a great piece. I don't even like John Oliver, but I do kind of like that piece. He interviews Monica Lewinsky and just really dives into like how celebrity culture can have this very toxic development. Like, people can be really toxic on like the celebrity side. Like, we say, oh, social media is so toxic. You have these people and these people going at each other and all that. I'm not saying that's not the case, but you know, it started somewhere. It started with these like barbaric views that we kind of have regarding people in the media. With fame comes attention, and with attention comes eyes everywhere, lack of privacy, like just like this weird pressure of just everybody wants to know what's going on. It's like going to a dinner party and everybody in the party wants to know what's going on in your life, and they want to know how you doing? You pregnant? You were you with that guy a couple nights ago? Were you schmoozing around, boozing around, schmoozing around, all that jazz? And you like you tell one person one thing, and then suddenly the whole party knows. Like, you talk about it, and then you have another conversation, and you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you did that. And I'm like, I didn't tell you that. How did you find out? And they're like, oh, Becky told me. Becky tells me everything. Becky tells me all your dirty little secrets. And you're just like, oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of really a messed up part of our culture, really, I think. How we just go out and we target like these poor girls didn't do anything. Monica didn't do anything. Bill did something. Bill went out and he cheated and he did all that. And then even Hillary got back together with him. You could say it wasn't out of love, but it was out of politics. But that's their discussion, not mine. I don't really care about their relationship because I don't know. You want to talk about the two most boring people in the world? Go ahead. I just think the Clintons are an old topic, a boring topic. No need to really harp on it too much. But I digress. Point is, be smart about who you shame. And just, be nice. That's always a good message. That is always the best kind of message to have with these kind of stories. But yeah. Now on to the next story. Do you know how much Bitcoin is worth? Do you really know how much Bitcoin is worth? I'll tell you how much Bitcoin is worth. Bitcoin is worth, I believe last I checked, $55,000. No, it's just like $55. Current volume at Bitcoin, or the current market price of Bitcoin is 58,538.48. Wow. Something changed. Oh, wow. That's a lot. Holy mackerel. But anyway, yeah. That's probably about the price of a college tuition right there. Wow. But anyway, I digress. The price of Bitcoin is important today because Chipotle is giving out free Bitcoin. Yes, you heard that right. Chipotle is giving away free Bitcoin. What about some free cryptocurrency? According to the Today Show by Yi Jin Yu. Want a free meal this weekend? What about some free cryptocurrency to go with it? Chipotle fans will get the opportunity to try their luck and win a free burrito or free Bitcoin on April 1st, otherwise known as National Burrito Day. And according to her, no, it's not an April Fool's Day joke. Oh, we hope. Ooh. So, yeah, that's only going to be valid for one day. Chipotle explained that interested individuals could go to Burritos or Bitcoin on Thursday to play a game for a chance to win free burritos or up to $25,000 in Bitcoin. Wow. Yeah, so that's a lot. So one Bitcoin apparently is worth, let's see, the worth of Bitcoin currently is 58,538. I'm not sure about that. In 1 hour, it's gone up 62, but in one day, it's gone down 62. But Bitcoin's been going on the rise, man. Like, you compare it from 1 month to another month, it's like it started at 43,170 and it just jumped to like 58,538. Holy mackerel. Like, I'll be honest with you, I kind of want to get into Bitcoin because it seems interesting. Like, it's like NFTs from last week. The concept is very intriguing for me because I think that NFTs are like they're probably going to be very big in the future, and they're probably going to be like something that's like very valuable, like a vintage car, like it's like a vintage car or like a vintage vinyl or a very rare vinyl that like costs thousands of dollars, except like this like NFTs value is never going to go away because the internet is forever, or so we think at this point. Bitcoins are very much in the same boat because you could argue Bitcoins are they don't have like the wide influence of the stock market involved with them. And that's a very big part of it. I mean, I don't know. According to Coinbase, the source that I'm looking at, the world's Bitcoin is the world's first cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is stored and exchanged securely on the internet through a digital ledger known as a blockchain. Blockchains are also used in the process of purchasing NFTs. Bitcoins are divisible into smaller units, known as satoshis. Each satoshi is worth, gosh, that's a very small number, but I'll try to read it for y'all. 0.000000001 Bitcoin. So yeah, that's a really small Bitcoin, but it works. So okay, let's figure out now. A blockchain is very big. It seems like it's a very big. So a blockchain is a growing list of records called blocks that are linked using cryptocurrency. Each block contains a cryptographic hash of the previous block, timestamp, and transaction data. By design, a blockchain is resistant to the modification of its data. Ah, so that's how Bitcoins work. That's how Bitcoins work. That's how Bitcoins work. Gotta get those Bitcoins. No, you don't have to get those Bitcoins. It's a risky market. I get that. Then again, most markets are risky. Like the stock market, I mean, a lot of those people hopped on GME. They said, to the moon, diamond hands, to the moon. I mean, and then like a lot of people stayed there, and then it eventually went down. for whatever reason, and I don't know the exact reason why, not many people do, but it went down, and a lot of people were like, oh, that's it? That's it? And then they had to sell when it got low. And then that led into a lot of those like stock taxes coming in, and then you get taxed for that and all that jazz. So yeah, and that's the story of GME. And then they sell early because they didn't think GameStop was going back up, and then they thought it was a useless stuff. And then all of a sudden, boom, it goes back up. Boom, diamond hands, rocket to the moon, to the moon. And yeah. I mean, all these markets pretty risky at the end of the day. I mean, you really got to watch out for. You really got to make conscious decision on what you really want to do with like bitcoins and stocks and all that. I'm not financially wise. I'm in college, and I am not finan. Well, I am not the financially wisest. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Be very careful about the markets that you want to get into. Yes, Bitcoin and with the stock market. Nothing's guaranteed ever. All you got to do is really base your decisions on instinct and base your decisions off where you think the market's going, because that's all you really can do. Anyway, so yeah, how's everybody feeling? I'm kind of feeling good. So yeah, those were the big stories that I wanted to talk about today. There's a couple of other ones that I think are kind of worth discussing a little bit. You could also discuss, let's see which one, what the story was. By the way, I just want to give a little detailed description on what the news real show is on again. We talk about current news stories and we talk about current news events. And this is Newsreel on WDSR, Duquesne Student Radio, based in Pittsburgh. Oh yeah, I want to talk about this. Lil Nas X, you crazy, man. You are crazy. So, if you haven't seen it yet, Lil Nas X put out this like insane music video called what was the name? It was Montero Called Me by Your Name, and it is one of the most insane videos I've seen because I, it is one of the most crazy videos I've ever seen because like it's a very bold statement on just his sexuality and how he feels as a person, and like he's tired of it. The statement very much is, "I am who I am. I don't care what you think of me. I'm gonna do what I do," and that's what it is at the end of the day. Now, based on that description alone, you might say, "Sure, that's yeah." Sure, that doesn't sound that bad. I mean, it sounds kind of nice. Well, when it ends with Fireman Pole, well, I don't know how much of this I can get away with talking about on the good Catholic WDSR, Duquesne Student Radio, because it is a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of devil stuff in there. There's a lot of wild stuff in there. I mean, if you really are interested in check, if you are interested, I would check out the music video if you're curious. But yeah, I think that's gonna be where I stop talking about the music video and then start talking about the shoes. So Lil Nas X actually put out these things called Satan Nikes. Satan Nikes. You gotta love them. It sold out of its 666 pairs in under a minute on Monday. Apparently, these are Nike Air Maxes that have a drop of real human blood mixed into the red ink sloshing around inside the air bubble. That's a little weird. And these collabs are between Nas X and this New York based art collective Mischief, which is known for its online stunts, including chopping up a $30,000 fine art print last year. However, Nike is really in hot water with this because if you pull up the shoe, the there's a clear Nike logo on it. And Nike doesn't like being associated with a shoe that has human blood in it. And I don't blame them, honestly. I really don't. And so I think they're planning on suing the shoes. I think they're planning on suing Lil Nas X on this whole thing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Their logo's on it, they're selling the shoe, and they're getting a lot of blowback on something that, really wasn't their issue to begin with. They just, it's just their brand of shoe is being used for it. And the reason why is the video, the video was as controversial as it was. So the video was really controversial at the end of the day, and it caused a lot of outrage, and a lot of people wanted a boycott, and a lot of people wanted to say, this is disgusting, why are you doing this? And then he really did play the outrage culture here. He got a lot of these conservative figureheads such as Candace Owens and Laura Boebert and all that. And the funny thing is, they talked about this on Twitter, and he eventually responded. I think he responded to Boebert by saying, what was it? Shouldn't you be doing your job instead of commenting on this? Something along those lines. I mean, you could say, oh, what a disgusting video. What a disgusting thing. The video is well made, by the way. I will say that. The video is kind of well made at the end of the day. But the issue, well, there is no issue. He played people's outrage culture. He played the social media game to his way. And apparently now, if I wanted to look up the YouTube video for Montero, the video is currently out. Okay, that is not it. Yeah. And I'm not playing the video on radio. I'm not playing on stream either. I'm not getting copyright strike. And I'm not getting chewed out by the university either. The video has 54,000 views, or no, not 54,000, 54 million views, and it premiered 5 days ago. Those numbers are impressive when you're talking about YouTube analytics. And he won. He won. He beat him. He won. He beat him. He did a great job. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Nike side of the story develops into at the end of the day. But we shall see how it goes at the end of the day. Speaking of, let's tie it back into Amazon and talk about a video or a movie that I watched on Amazon Prime last night. So, the movie that I watched on Amazon Prime last night was A24's The Farewell. Now, The Farewell is essentially about this girl who immigrated from China to America, played by Aquafina, and this girl is played by Aquafina, and she essentially she wants to go back and say goodbye to her grandmother in China. But here's the catch: she cannot tell her grandmother that she has cancer. She can't, because Chinese police say you cannot tell a person, or they don't want you telling people about like a cancer diagnosis. It was something along the lines of they didn't want to tell her about her cancer diagnosis because the fear is what kills a person and not the actual disease itself. Which, yeah, is use what take that as you will. But yeah, take that as you will. But there's a very interesting dichotomy because the character, Billy, is constantly arguing with her family about what she what she thinks is right and what they think is right. They think it's right not to tell her and just let her have enjoyment in her life, let her have like a great moment, like let her enjoy her days. And she's just sitting there, and I tell you, this grandmother, I love her. She was the sweetest thing in the whole movie. It was like the whole guise of why the whole family is coming back for the wedding in order to see the grandmother one last time is a wedding between Billy's cousin. Hold on. Between Billy's cousin and his girlfriend of 3 months, and they were also very fantastic. Because I don't know, it's like one of those it's I don't want to say it's like a cringe compilation. It's a cringe compilation of like marriage proposals where they'll just be like, "Yeah, sure," and then you're like, "Woo!" And then you go to the wedding, and the lady is not into it at all. She's not into it at all. But the guy, he's drinking, he's having a great time. By the way, don't drink. Stay safe, kids. Name Lord, Holy Lord, Christ, Spirit, all that. You gotta love that stuff. And yeah, I think the best part about this story is the fact that it really dives into the dichotomy of these cultural differences between China and America. I think I thought that was the most interesting part of the movie because you can't do something like that in America. You can't not tell someone that they have a diagnosis of lung cancer. You can't. You have to. I don't know the whole story of it, but you know, you have to tell a person if they have cancer or something like that. But here they're like, no, we're gonna let her enjoy her days. We're not gonna allow her to worry about her life and all that. But like from the American side of things, which obviously I aligned with, she she wants to tell her because she wants her nine, which is the grandmother, to settle her affairs before she passes away. I mean, the doctor even tells her like she has 3 months to live. So it's tough. It's very, very tough because, yeah, I don't know if I'd ever. I mean, I wouldn't because I'm based in America, but hypothetically, let's just say I was diagnosed with cancer and, you know, my family was faced with that choice. What would I want to do? What would I like to do? I would prefer you tell me because you know it goes into that age-old question: would you want to know how you died, or when you died? And I'd prefer it like to know, well, when I died, because if I knew how I died, then I'd be like, oh gosh, I should really stay away from caterpillar excavation equipment. I don't know. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies. And good adage is people it people that try to avoid their death usually end up taking the road, like going on the road to taking it, or something like that. Don't quote me on that. Don't ever quote me on that. But yeah, that's crazy. And yeah, I think that no, I thought that movie was good. I thought it ended on a weird note. I didn't really get the ending that much. I'm not gonna get into it. Just I'm happy for the ending, but it's just like I thought it could have ended on a stronger note, because it just kind of I felt like it kind of ended weak. But the movie as a whole, I think was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed Aquafina's performance, which, you know, is surprising because I'm not a huge fan of Aquafina's acting. I didn't like her in Ocean's 8. I didn't like her in, well, I didn't care for her in like the Jumanji sequel, which she was a part of. I didn't really care for her with that. And yeah, that's kind of how I felt about that movie. Best part was the grandmother. Best part was Aquafina. Best part was kind of like the writing and the acting. I didn't really care much for the cinematography, and I didn't really care much about the. I didn't really care much for the direction either. I found there was one conversation around a dinner table that was really interesting, talking about how people will send their children to America, but they have no clue on whether they'll stay or not, and that's kind of a really interesting point, because a lot of these parents that send their kids to other places, they want what's best for them, but they never really consider if that kid will either stay at the place and never come back, and or they'll come back home. That's always kind of something that's constantly present throughout the movie. It's it's scary. It's scary. It's very scary. It's very scary as a parent to consider that kind of situation where you might not ever see your child again if you send them off to a boarding school or college or something like that. And then the film kind of delves in that a little bit too, because Nine Nine's two children, Billy's father and her cousin's father, they both went off to different countries. Billy's father went off to America, and the cousin's father went off to Japan, leaving Nine to herself, essentially. So, excuse me. Essentially, that's kind of like reflected. That's kind of an ever-present theme of, to quote the Clash, should stay or should I go? And yeah, it's very interesting. I thought that was one of the more interesting parts of the movie. Would I recommend it? I think I would recommend it, especially if you haven't seen them before. I would recommend the movie as a whole. It's an A24 film. You're gonna get some form of quality with it. That studio is known for doing some really great movies. Some of my favorites too, like Waves, The Lighthouse, Hereditary. Um, Trying to think of non-horror examples, but trust me when I say that they are very, very well. Uh, they make very, very, very good films. And if you see that logo in front of anything, then you're probably in for a wild time. If I'm gonna be honest with you. There. Oh, Uncut Gems too. Uncut Gems is amazing. Best Adam Sandler film of all time, I tell you. But we aren't talking about that anymore. We were talking about The Farewell. And if you haven't seen The Farewell, I would recommend that you go and see The Farewell. So, yeah, to all of you wonderful, 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 wonderful people that are listening currently at the moment, I'm curious if you have any movie recommendations for me or any stories that you want me to talk about as a whole. So, send any suggestions you have to me at newsreelbusiness@gmail.com. That is news, NEWSREAL, business, BUSINESS, @gmail.com. Now, if you have any suggestions for me at all, please send it to that email address at all. Because the show, I love this show. I like doing this show. And I always want to work on my craft. And I always want to do something more with this. So please, 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 let me know. That has been the show for today. I'm happy to be with you on this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Wednesday morning. And I hope all of you have a great day. I hope all of you have a great Easter weekend. I hope all of you really, nail your day. And that's it for me. This has been R. Tyler on Newsreel on WDSR, Duquesne Student Radio, on Duquesne University, Pittsburgh. Signing off. See you later, boys and girls. See you later, boys and girls. Bye. Hi, people. Anyone in the chat? Someone's here, someone's not here. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. How do you think I did? Did I do well? Did I do good? I think I did pretty well at the end of the day. I appreciate you one viewer, you one subscriber. So I will say, please, 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 show some support. Talk about it with your friends. Post your link on your socials. Do what you do best, you loyal viewer. You are awesome, and I hope you have a great, great day. Peace. Bye.